motion. Drop the clutch, pedal to the floor. Turn that giddy button to a lion's roar. Dream machine, racing queen. I'll take you wherever you wanna go. Let's blow this town, break the speed of sound. Tonight we own the road. Dream machine, racing queen. You make my heart
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. It's Monday night. I am Ryan Hill with you in the booth. This is Sim Race South Africa. Welcome to another round of the simF1 Championship. That is our Formula 1 open wheeler. As we see in the background, Lawrence Sterner for Odin Racing getting it all sorts of wrong. And into the spinning kitty litter he goes into the wall. But this is round 3. We are at Mugello circuit tonight, and we also have a couple of new drivers joining us on track tonight, so do look out for that. Load shedding is around, of course, so the field is going to be a little bit smaller than ideal, but it does look like we had about 16 people confirm attendance tonight. Yeah, should have a good race on our hands. Just to get some of the formalities out of the way, the practice session is just ending now in the background. As we fade to black, we are going to be heading into another 15 minutes of quali. Going to take you around a little bit of the track layout quickly so far. The Mugello circuit, it's been around since the early, or actually late 70s, bought out exclusively by Ferrari since about 1988, where they use it exclusively as a test venue now. But it also hosts a number of races on the calendar for various motorsport events, in particular MotoGP, for example. DTM has raced there a couple of years as well, but most recently there was a Formula 1 race held there during the COVID years called the Tuscan Grand Prix in 2020. So we have seen some Formula 1 cars get around the circuit, and as you can see here on screen right now, about 5.2.5 kilometers long, 15 turns, as you can see them out there as the cars peel out of their pits, and about a 1.14 kilometer long main straight, which is also a DRS zone, so you're going to see cars utilize that DRS zone to great effect for some good passing opportunities. There's a decently long straight into a sort of a flowing right-hand T1, and yeah, looking forward to that. The weather forecast for today is very, very hot indeed. It was forecasted to be anywhere between 35 and 37. You can see it's actually smack bang in the middle of that right now. On the top left of your screen you can see 36 degrees Celsius. Wind is really not much to talk about. It's about a 5k wind. Northeasterly, and road temperature is going to be a little bit higher than the ambience. I'll have to see if I can tell you exactly what the track temperature is doing, but it's going to be somewhere between, it's going to be higher, I reckon, so 36 to 39 degrees, and it's already reporting optimal grip levels, so guys are out there on some very grippy rubber, I'm sure, and I'll keep you abreast of what compound everyone is on. The higher the number, the softer the compound. I see most of the fields out there right now on C5s, for example. A very soft compound indeed. And we should see that maybe only be good enough to qualify. I don't expect to see a lot of guys running that in the race trim, just due to the temperatures and the excessive weather that might bring with it. Just to give you an idea of lap times, we did see some guys putting in some practice over the last few days on our practice server. Topping the charts was Jeremy de Villiers with a 117.9. So very quick, only driver to dip into the 117s actually. But of course some key names not seen here on the practice servers. For example, Emile de Villiers, for example. Raymond Duggan 118.5, Mohamed Dockrad 118.5 as well. Alex Trier, I believe that name is not coming through on our practice sheets fully, but that is probably Alex R. We do have a couple of new names on track tonight, but I don't see them coming up on the timing sheets. But yeah, championship standings very quickly. So this is round 3, of course. I can quickly show you what happened in the first 2 rounds to date. We have Emile de Villiers essentially leading the championship on 50 points. Kyle Matthews in second with 36, and Jeremy de Villiers rounding actually top 3 with 30 points. We've only had 2 rounds so far, and there are 7 rounds in total with 2 drop rounds. So everything to play for tonight. And I think, yeah, stay tuned for how that's going to fall out. Right now we have about 11-12 minutes left roughly of qualifying. Let's just see who I can find out on track and watch the deltas and see who's going to take that coveted pole position. Emile de Villiers currently has provisional pole with a 1:17.1, so immediately even quicker than practice times, or the fastest practice time we saw from Jeremy de Villiers, that is, with a 1:17.9 on his score. Currently hasn't been able to get into the 1:17s just yet. He's posted a 1:18.3, and I can see he's out on his outlap currently. So we'll keep an eye on him as he comes around the circuits. He's actually about to round some of the final corners now in this Sector 3 complex and get going with his fastest lap, or flying lap should I say. Meanwhile, Mohamed Darkrat is currently in provisional P2, also out in the hot lap, outlap rather. Let's see, so here's Jeremy de Villiers on board, crosses the line now to start a flying lap. And let's go on board with him and see how he does. Cockpit camera, here we go. Decent exit there. He's about 0.1 seconds up on his delta. That might even be good enough for P2, or he's just going to come shy of it, and he immediately jumps to pit for a fresh set of rubber and gets out there for another hot lap. So he's just shy of Mohamed Darkrat. In fact, look at the times on the top left. We've got a 1:18.10 versus a 1:18.16. So very, very close margins here, and off Jeremy goes for another attempt. Here we have one of our new drivers on track tonight, Andres Serrani. Big welcome to you, Andres, I believe from Hungary. Just explaining the EU ping that you may spot in the tower there. The only other European driver or UK driver right now we have is Lawrence Sterner, currently in P6 for Odin Racing. Lawrence being a SAFA driving from the UK these days with us. Currently in P6, looking to improve on his time there. And bouncing up and down the field, see who we have around. Cornet Bread is there for the Flying Gypsies crew, of course, with Raymond Duggan as well, currently sitting in P5. I've got both Jude as well as John Stewart, also for the Flying Gypsies. Jude being the higher placed gypsy of the pair at the moment in P8, John currently P11. I have Dirk Brand, who is reporting to be in the pits. I think he's just peeling out of the pits now. I've got Mark Hollenbach on track, currently looking about to be 0.2-ish up on his delta as well, which isn't going to be enough for him to improve a position just yet, but lots of time still left in this quali session. Francesco Billet I've got in P12. Looks like he's out in an outlap right now, just yielding to some of the faster drivers, it looks like. Guys on their fast laps, he's just staying well out of the way of them. I've got Ben Wheeler, currently in P13, looking to improve. I think he's also on his outlap, about to start the flying lap now as he crosses the line. Mohamed Darkrat peeling out of the pits, going to give it another go right now, trying to attack Emile de Villiers' time. As we see Just at the top of your screen, just caught a glimpse of that Victor Vamos. Also one of the new drivers appears to be struggling to join the server, unfortunately, due to a checksum mismatch, so I think he needs to reinstall his car files. And let's see who else I can spot out there, potentially on a new Delta. There goes Jeremy de Villiers out for another attempt. And Docrat's still on his outlap. And Dries looks like he is out as well on an outlap, not yet on flyer. Lawrence Stern just a little bit caught up in traffic there temporarily. Let's see if we can find Jude Stewart. I've just seen pop over the line into P6. That was a marginal improvement. Corne Brea's actually just crossed the line as well, up into 6 and peels off the pits, off the racing line back into the pits. Puts on a fresh set of boots. In fact, interestingly, a slightly harder compound now he's chosen. He was on the C5s. Looks like he's gone out on the C4 now. A slightly harder tire. So whether he's reckoning he can improve his time on this tire, or maybe he's just jumping into some race trim and getting some last seconds of practice before the clock hits the 0. Ben Wheeler's just preparing for another run. Here we have John Stewart, who looks like he's on a fast lap. He's aborted that lap, so we'll go and find back on provisional pole Emile de Villiers 117.1. He is on another outlap, so this lap will not be counting. The Jeremy de Villiers is on a flyer, but he is hovering around his delta, just slightly slower. So no improvement in sector 1 just yet. About to hit sector 2. Let's see if we can make up some time in the middle and final sectors. He needs literally about 0.05 improvement to lock out the front row for de Villiers Motorsport. He's found a little bit of time there at the end of sector 2. He's in the green of this delta. Let's just stay with him and see if he can hook together a good final sector, because this is looking like it's possible. This looks like it's going to be job done if he can keep this together on the final corner. Keep that speed momentum up. You're looking for a minus 0.06 roughly cemented, and this looks like it's done enough. He's improved by 0.1 of a second, and that brings him up to P2 with a 118.05, safe from Mohammed Dokrat's 118.1. So back to Mohammed to put in the quali time. It looks like he's out in an outlap for now, so we'll have to keep an eye on him and pick up when he's about to join his flyer. Raymond Duggan, meanwhile, getting out of the traffic there. And Dries Surani coming across the line now. That was an outlap, so he's starting a flyer. Now he's sitting very nice in P5 for the time being. Well, as I say, that Corne Breed just pips him and displaces that position right now. And that was on the C4 compound. On the slightly harder compound, who's also out there on the C4 is Lawrence Stern. He's just exited the pits, actually. But he's giving it a go now on the harder tire. Let's see, where is Mohammed Dokrat is rounding the final corner now, so he's about to start his flying lap. Let's stay with him. He's got a lovely exit there out of the final corner, which enjoyed a good amount of speed down the main straight. He's already up 0.15 on his delta. See if he can carry that through the rest of the sector. Looking pretty good. This may be enough for him to steal P2 back if he can hook it together and keep up that pace. Cast your eyes down to the bottom middle of your screen and you can see that green number right now, 0.03, 0.046 is dancing around that that number. I think he's going to look for about a 0.06 rather, improvement. He's lost a lot of time there. Maybe that's just the accordion effect coming around the corner. No, I think he has actually lost a lot of the time into that final sector, and he's about to hit some traffic now too, so I don't think he's going to be doing it this lap. He probably has enough time for about one more go, and he's peeling into the pits. Oh, I think that's going to be it then. Not going to have enough time to do another outlap and a flyer. Jeremy de Villiers therefore is safe with P2 for the time being. It's not going to be able to displace P1, I don't think, just knowing Emile de Villiers, his natural pace over his father Jeremy de Villiers. Raymond Duggan, no improvement for him right now in P4. P5, I think that was Cornet Bread I saw sliding out there. Jude Stewart's out on track still. On the soft draw, the C5 compound, he's down 1.5 seconds on his delta, so he's not going to be improving this lap. Lawrence Stoner is up on his delta, currently in P9, almost up 0.1, which is not going to be enough to make a position up on Jude Stewart either, unless he finds a hell of a lot of time in the final sector across the line, which he does not, so no improvement for Lawrence Stoner. Final 10 seconds of quali. Jeremy de Villiers is on an outlap. This is not going to count for anything. Raymond Duggan is already in the pits. Jude Stewart, we see pulling off. He's aborted that lap. So I think Jeremy just getting some last few seconds of practice time. We are essentially in overtime, and that is everyone's laps done. So we have Emile de Villiers, pole position, rounding out the top two with Jeremy de Villiers on the front row. That is the de Villiers Motorsport lockout. Second row, we have Mohamed Dokrat and Raymond Duggan. Third row, Cornet Brett and Mark Hollenbach. We'll be back in about 1 minute. Don't go anywhere. Alrighty, we are back and in the final stages of overtime right now, just waiting to form the grid. Gaze upon the BMW pace/safety car. And indeed, here we go. Drivers are lining up on the grid. And we've got about a minute now just to sort out their pit stop strategies, their starting race strategies. Good time to remind the audience of what the rules are for tonight. So essentially we're going into a 60-minute timed race, and there is one mandatory pit stop, and to clear the mandatory pit stop, drivers need to pit during the pit window and either change tires or add a minimum of 1 liter of fuel, or both of course. The pit stop window itself is 40 minutes in the middle of the race. It's going to open after about 10 minutes and close 50 minutes into the race, or in other words 10 minutes before the end. I'll keep you abreast of what's happening with the pit stop changes. Here we go, as the lights are about to go green. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red lights waiting for them to go off. And the lights are off and away we go. We have Emile de Villiers getting a good start. Mohamed Dokrat trying to get up the inside here. Gonna have a look over the hill. And it still looks like Emile in front. Jeremy is going to tuck in behind. Try and get us a bit of a wider view. And from the back, Mohamed Dokrat still maintaining that P3 position. He's going to squeeze out and in fact make a little bit of contact with Cornet Bread, who unfortunately is going to slip down the pack a little bit. And has a lot of kitty litter to trawl through, unfortunately, to get back on track. And meanwhile here, who's the stuck on track? It looks like Alex R. Oh dear, he's stuck on the grid and stalled for some reason. He's going to have to get that going. Fortunately, he's in a position where cars should be able to see him. But we're going to hop back to the top of the pack right now. Looks like the rest of the field has gotten through without too much trouble. And right now sitting on board with P6 Mark Hollenbach looking back towards Dirk Brand in his mirrors and looking forward onto Lawrence Sterner in the Odin Racing bronze and gold car ahead of him as they snake their way through the Ondetti corner, coming around the final corner now onto the main pit straight. And here we're going to see hopefully Alex R's car is still stuck on the grid there, but drivers are hopefully going to spot it in time. And I'm not sure what the trouble is there. He's just managed to disconnect from the server now. So that technical troubles with Alex, for some reason you may hear from him a little later just in terms of what was going on there. I'm sorry to see it. And for the time being, the rest of you can enjoy the pack going around. 1 lap down, Emile de Villiers and Jeremy de Villiers and Mohamed Dokrat positions unchanged from the start. Let's have a quick look at those starting positions and the winners or losers right now. Big winner Lawrence Sterner up 4 positions into P5 from his qualifying. So a great start there for Lawrence Sterner for Odin Racing. As we flick to his camera car right now, he is behind the red and black car of the Flying Gypsies, piloted by Raymond Duggan. And Mark Hollenbach in P6. Dirk Brand up 3 places as well, had a very good start on his side, and behind him Ben Wheeler up 4 as well. Obviously, as we saw at the beginning, Cornet Bread unfortunately coming into contact, and I'm pretty sure we may see a steward's inquiry later on this evening or tomorrow, where we can review that incident in question as it comes through. But certainly right now Cornet Bread is looking to do a recovery drive. It's going to be very interesting to see the race strategies. And here we have a challenge for a pass in P10 coming through. It looks like Andres Serrani is going wheel to wheel here, side by side by Ben Wheeler, and manages to sneak. Oh, there's some contact. I was going to say manages to sneak ahead. And unfortunately a little bit of contact made. And both drivers ending out in the kitty litter and doing some pirouettes trying to get back on track safely. Another interesting bit of info is just the tyre choices. Everyone is out on there right now. Most drivers opting for the hardest compound. That is the C1 tyre that you see on the tyre board here. I have Mohamed Dokrat is the only driver in the top 5 or so that has opted for the C2 tyre, slightly softer. A couple of other drivers slowed down going for the C2 as well. And here already we have Cornet Breed making his way past Jude Stewart. Recovery drive is in progress. I see in chat we have Leon de Villiers just mentioning it's Emile's birthday today. So happy birthday, Emile. And wouldn't it be a great birthday present to come home with another race win for the Villiers Motorsport? Lots to go there, 55 minutes. And anything can happen between now and then. So, Jeremy de Villiers on board with him now, going through the Arrabbiata 1 and 2 corners. And he has Mohamed Docrat, the company right behind him. We're going to look back from Jeremy de Villiers' car onto Mohamed Docrat. And as they round second to last corner, the final sweeping left-hand corner coming up now, we will see the rear wing of the car snap open, which is the DRS or the drag reduction system come into effect now. I'm going to see it flap open. Just to minimize the drag in the car, make sure they get a highest top speed as possible. Obviously you can see in the background Mohamed Docrat doing exactly the same thing. And there's a little bit of a draft he might enjoy with the DRS, and if he manages to keep close enough, that can be a good passing opportunity down into T1. We'll keep an eye on the gaps and try and spot when that is happening. One of the closest battles on track, we also have Mark Hollenbach challenging Raymond Duggan for P4. As we can see it currently unfolding on track. And further down, I have on the back of Dirk Brandt, Jude Stewart for Flying Gypsies Hades team, also hunting down Dirk. On board now with Jude, looking forward to Dirk Brandt ahead. Coming through the Rentayo corner. There's a little bit of a train ahead I'm just seeing coming over the start-finish line now. Almost like a DRS train in a way. Mark Hollenbach tucked in behind Raymond Duggan here. He was also just put in the fastest lap of the race, a 1:20.90. Mark's on a charge here. At least a personal best, 1:20.9. That is. Emile de Villiers, I think, currently has the fastest lap with a 1:19.89. And he's developed quite a bit of a gap now to Jeremy de Villiers in P2, 6.2 seconds behind him. And still has Mohamed Docrat at about a half a second gap. Cornet Breed again making his way past Ben Wheeler as the recovery drive continues and just pulling out of the way there. I think that is a back marker actually of Francisco Billet. So just making sure he doesn't get tangled up in that battle under the blue flags being waved. Watching, I see Alex R re-disconnect from the service, so definitely some sort of technical challenge going on there, unfortunately, for Alex R tonight. Yes, so this is Raymond Duggan. Side by side with Mark Hollenbach, and he's going to dive up the inside. And that is a nice clean pass into T1, like we said, under the drag of the main straight with a little bit of help from DRS. Results in a nice clean pass down into T1, and I bet you we're going to see a lot of that swapping happening throughout this race as an full passing opportunity. Here we have Jude Stewart. All over the back of it. Oh, he's gone wide. Oh, is that a little bit of a commentator's curse? I actually think he clipped there's a bit of a sausage curb there. Ooh, don't rejoin. Ooh, that rejoin was a little dubious. But, yeah, unfortunately, that has put Jude down into P10. We're going to hop back up to the Jeremy de Villiers battle for P2 with Mohamed Docrat. Wide open, trying to keep Mohamed Docrat at bay. The gap was 0.5 seconds last lap. Yeah, what is happening on Raymond Duggan side by side with Mark Hollenbach to the P4. So that position has been reclaimed. Bree getting his personal best to see the tower flashing purple. But yeah, as I was saying, at the gap Mohamed Docker has to Jeremy de Villiers is hovering around a 0.5, just extended slightly now to 0.7, crunching back to 0.5 again. Real key is we want to see where he's going to be, what that gap is coming up to the last corners, and whether he's going to be close enough to enjoy a good amount of slipstream and eliminate that drag with the DRS system combined to have a passing opportunity on Jeremy de Villiers leading into T1. Ooh, there's a car of going very slowly there. Again, I think it looks like it might be... Not sure who that was. It may have been Francesco again, but here we are on the main straight. That gap looks like it's about a 0.3. Come on, camera angles. There we go. To Jeremy de Villiers. And is not close enough to make any sort of threatening move right now. See if I can find out what's going down the pack. Yeah, Francisco Billets, P13 currently. Andres Pirani. Who's slipped back quite a few places into P12 right now. John and Jude Stewart in P10 and P11. Yeah, back up to Mark Hollenbach's. You can see the traffic developing ahead. This is the battle for position for P4. And he's looking quite punchy on the back of Raymond Duggan here. And in the final corner, the gap is about 0.38. All the DRSs are going to snap open at the line. I think Raymond Duggan is going to be running very defensive. Let's just have a look here. He's running up all the way up on the inside line. Mark Hollenbach's looking left, looking right. It looks like he's going to try and go around the outside now. They're still side by side. And that is going to be a marvelous pass yet again. So these guys, I think they've swapped positions almost every single lap. Down into that T1, T2 complex. And fantastic skill shown by both drivers to keep it nice and clean. Great respect shown, both of these veterans. All proficient in their class. On the dock right now, the gaps of Jeremy de Villiers opened up ever so slightly from half a second to 0.9 of a second. One interesting difference between Mohamed Docratia is that he's running the C2, the slightly softer compound, to Jeremy de Villiers and Neil de Villiers in front of the C1, the hardest compound. It's going to be an interesting question to the drivers, what tyre they feel was most optimal for the prevailing conditions. Through Casanova corner into Savelli. Arabiata 1 and 2, long sweeping right-handers. It's a little bit of a chicane complex, Scaperia, Pelagio. Up down to Jude Stewart, who's reporting to be about 0.3 seconds behind Ben Wheeler. This is the battle for P9. Real close there under braking. A little bit of a move here, and up the inside goes Jude Stewart. It was a great little dive, kept it clean as well by the looks of it. And is there going to be an opportunity here for Ben Wheels to come back at him? I think he's had enough of an overlap such that it is not going to happen. Pass seems to have been safely made, safely banked. So a good pass, Jude Stewart up into P9. Train down the main straight here in the immediate foreground. You see Jeremy de Villiers then goes through Mohamed Dokrat, behind him Mark Hollenbach. All for positions 2, 3 and 4, keeping each other in sight, in check. The pit window is officially open. It's been open for a little while now. Missed the start of it. Haven't seen any drivers dive into the pits just yet, however. I think with these hot conditions, most drivers are probably going to pit somewhere around the middle. A little bit of a problem there by Mohamed Dokrat, and you saw that Mark Hollenbach is almost capitalizing here. They're now in a drag race side by side down the main straight heading to T1. I think Mark Hollenbach has, I was going to say he was on the left hand side of your screen, but he's just tucked back in behind Mohamed Dokrat. I think he had a massive moment there because his time to Jeremy de Villiers has dropped all the way down to 1.3, so I think there was some sort of mistake there. It brought him under huge pressure from Mark Hollenbach. Fortunately, both these guys running the same livery, so a little difficult to keep track of who's who, but at the moment it is Mohamed Dokrat out in front. And seems to have stabilized somewhat. That gap to Mark Hollenbach opened up a little bit, to 0.8 seconds. I say that, but then it's just snapshotted closed again. I wonder if there is some sort of issue with Mohamed's tires here. Just struggling under some of the tighter corners by the looks of it in comparison to Mark Hollenbach. And again, we're being challenged here. And potentially going up the inside is Mark Hollenbach. They can keep it clean. And that pass is technically still under threat. Mohamed Dokrat is going to have the inside line here and have the advantage. And just manages to take that position back again before the line. But always done the switchback. Mark Hollenbach's now on the inside. Dokrat swinging it around the outside. And still manages to stay ahead of Mark Hollenbach. These guys duking it out neck and neck. Meanwhile, it's giving Jeremy de Villiers the opportunity to scamper away as these guys fight and defend and taking a suboptimal line essentially to the main racing line. But for the time being, Mohamed Dokrat doing exceptionally well there to defend his position, placing his car exactly where it needed to be for the subsequent corners. Meanwhile, Lawrence Sterner in a comfortable P5 position. Looks like he's got a little bit of a lonely race in this segment of the race right now. He's about 10 seconds behind Mark Hollenbach and about 7 or 8 seconds ahead of Raymond Duggan. If he can keep his head down, put in some quali lap times or clean lap times, he can do well for himself here. Hopping back down to Corne Breed, who's attacking Dirk Brand right now. And the corner being on a little bit of a recovery drive. I'm going to go on board with him. You see Dirk running a little bit wide there, which is going to place him under a little bit of a threat. Oh, and he's peeled into the pits. That's what happened. But perhaps quite intentional. I see there's some sort of, if I say some sort of accident, but no, it is Mark Hollenbach also in the pits. Now, it is an extremely quick stop. I believe he's coming out already. That was extremely quick, almost as if it was a splash and dash. And from Mark Hollenbach, which it may very well have been. In other words, staying on the same tires, putting in that minimum 1 liter of fuel. Out he goes again. Pit stop done and dusted. And Mohamed Dokrat also must have done the same. Sitting in a P6. Between them they have Jude Stewart though, so this is critical. But in between all of that, Jude managed to split the pair. So perhaps a slightly longer pit stop on Mark Hollenbach than Mohamed Dokrat took. We're just going to verify that very quickly by clicking the tower to pit stop counts. There indeed, we see Mohamed Dokrat 1, Mark Hollenbach 1, and Dirk Brand 1. Francisco Billet 1, pit stop completed. Corne Breeds, meanwhile, getting past Raymond Duggan, co-teammate, and then Mohamed Dokrat is in the mix there as well. The white car splitting the two red and black gypsies, and I think that's because Raymond Duggan is pulling it, but has a little bit of a lock-up moment before the pit entrance, but keeps it in check. So yeah, pit stops are coming in now thick and fast. That is going to be causing switchbacks up and down the tower for now while they settle into place. Right now what we have is Mohamed Dokrat sitting in P5 behind Corne Breed, who's all the way up into P4 now. And Mohamed Dokrat, I think his last best was a 120.7. In the background, who is that? Big puff of smoke and white tires. I'm not seeing anyone else reported off track right now, so I think that may have just been a spin that was collected. On track right now, we're seeing John Stewart, Raymond Duggan behind. I'm going to hop back to Mohamed Dokrat, who's all over the back of Corne Breed now. It's in attack mode. Opening the final corner. Is it going to be close enough to attack? I'm not sure that he is. That gap looks not close enough to make any sort of dive into T1. This is very silly. He certainly gives it a lot of beams through T1. He tries to hang it around the outside, but has not managed to get any significant deal closer. But he does have Mark Hollenbach for company off the back of him now. These three guys all for position. I'm gonna go on board, sorry, with Mark Hollenbach. Just looking forward onto. Oh, there's been an accident right in front, and that is Dokrat trying to get it unstuck out of the kitty litter, burning a hell of a lot of rubber as he does so. In fact, oof, is that a flat tire? He's going to have to try and bring it back onto track. I'm wondering if he hasn't messed up that rear left tire, which seems to be just spinning out of control right now. There might also be some suspension damage. And that is devastating for Mohamed Dokrat, as he certainly seems to be nursing a problem here because he isn't re-merging with the track. In fact, he's pulled it to a halt and has called for a throw back to pits, and has resulted in a DNF. So that is devastating for Mohamed Dokrat. And Sorry to see the retirement, and very possible if there was some contact involved, the stewards are going to get called in. But for now, back on the action, Mark Hollenbach is sitting in P5, looking to attack Corner Bread just ahead of him. Hollenbach is on the C2 compound tire, Corner Bread on the harder C1 compound tire. Seeing a car reported on the main straight is in trouble. I think that's Francesco Billet pulling back onto the racing line now. And I think he is nursing some sort of issue. Maybe he's just yielding to the front runners coming through, but he's still going a little bit slowly perhaps. After nursing some sort of damage or mechanical issue. Maybe just being extra courteous to the front runners making their way around the track right now. Right, so back on the action. This is the battle for P4 you're watching on screen. Hollenbach on the back of the Flying Gypsies, red and black car there in front. C4 Corner Bread. P4 rather. Nice and close around the final corner here. Mark can keep up this momentum. He'll be enjoying a good amount of slipstream from Corner Bread. The DRS wings will snap open right now. Corner's probably going to be running nice and tight and defensive on the inside line. Up the hill they go and over. No dives in there for the time being. Jude and John Stewart swapping places. Currently Jude now in front of John. Lawrence Stoner meanwhile finds himself up into P3. I'm yet to pit, however. Back onto the battle for P4 here again, rounding the final corner. Now, how close can Mark Hollenbach? This time we're going to go on board and have a look. See a little bit of wiggling and some smoke there from Corner Bread. I wonder if he's struggling with his tires. Or perhaps just had a mini lock-up in a correction there, exiting the T1. Certainly still is under a hell of a lot of pressure here from Mark Hollenbach. Sparks flying from the camber of that corner. RBR to 1 and 2. go, final corner once again. This time let's go on board with corner bread. Looking behind to Mark Buck. Top speeds 316, 317 kilometers an hour. That's where it's going to top out. And the wind's smack shut. Again, Mark having a little bit of a look, or corner having a little bit of a sideways moment to T1 exit. For the time being, both on their merry way. Have a look at Dirk Brand here in P7. But 1.3 seconds behind Remy Duggan. And into the pits goes Ben Wheeler. As is John Stewart. Have a look at Jeremy de Villiers here. He's currently in P4 now. I believe that might be because he's taken a pit stop that we missed. Yes, his pit stops are reflecting as one completed. Now the entire field has done a pit stop with the exception of Corne Breed, sitting in P2. Bread is going to have to pit sometime in the next 17 minutes. I imagine he's probably going to want to do it as late as possible now. Especially while he's got some clean air ahead of him and no one really tackling him from behind just yet. Back down to Andres Serrani, one of the debutants today for SimRace Africa, currently sitting in P9. So if you just joined us, we are somewhat just halfway through this race, 25 minutes left to go. Quick summary, power that you see there, Emile de Villiers. Currently sitting in P1, enjoying a nice healthy plus 34 second lead to P2, currently Corne Bread, which is even further when you consider that Corne Bread has yet to pit. And as we say, that Corne Bread is actually pulling into the pits right now. I expect this to be a very quick stop. If anything, it's going to be a little splash and dash. See if that is indeed. Well, it's actually a little bit longer than a splash and dash, so maybe certainly not long enough to change tires. We are putting a decent amount of fuel in, maybe a little bit more than a litre. Out he goes, Mark Hollenbach has been promoted back up to P2. Quick shout out to Dan's Odyssey in chat joining us. How's it, Dan? And Jeremy de Villiers, P3. I just want to double check the pit stops. I assumed, yeah, Emile de Villiers has done his pit stop. Yeah, so he's got a massive lead right now. And plus 35 seconds to be precise. He actually has enough time to do another pit stop for free if he so wishes. Wonder if you would actually be interested in doing that if we had to introduce the concept of a point for fastest lap sometime in a future championship. Give drivers enough time to pit and put in some soft compound tires and go for it perhaps. Emile de Villiers running around, Jeremy de Villiers in P3. Lawrence Sterner still a healthy P4. Raymond Duggan, currently the highest placed flying Gypsies driver in P5. But he has Captain Corne Breed just behind him now. Fresh off his pit stop. Coming up behind and just judging lap times. Corne Breed's potential with a 120.784, a little bit better than Raymond Duggan's best, a 120.89. So keep an eye on this. I have a feeling that Corne is going to be quick enough to catch up to and pass Raymond. I don't believe there's any team orders in play here at Flying Gypsies, so they'll just go for a healthy situation. We'll keep an eye on these guys for now, being the closest battle on track. Both drivers' wings wide open. There might even be a passing opportunity here. It looks like it's done and dusted. Whether that was a yield or not, I'm not 100% sure. It might have been. But yeah, that means Corne Breed promoted to P5 and back up on the charge. Got about 8 seconds to make up to Lawrence Sterner. Whether there's enough time left in this race to do so, I'm not entirely sure. Let's go down the field again. See John Stewart putting in his best lap of the race, 122.966. He's settled down, putting in some good consistent laps. He does have someone just behind him, but I don't think that's racing for position. In fact, it is Mark Hollenbach's coming up behind, so this will be a blue flag situation. John Stewart will be showing the blue flags any second now as Mark catches up to him. You do have to remember that blue flags in SimRace South Africa are advisory. Drivers do not need to dive out of the way. No need to do anything erratic. Key thing is to be predictable, but drivers up to the faster driver to make the pass, and as the slower driver, essentially you're just not allowed to defend the corner. This is the easiest place to do it. In fact, as I say that, Mark Hollenbach's peeling back into the pits for a second pit stop. Now where is Jeremy de Villiers? He's actually just rounded the final corner now, and there he goes, passes Mark Hollenbach for another position. And that certainly seems like an unplanned pit stop. I'm not sure why we'd want to pit a second time in these conditions. Surely now he needs to come out on a soft compound tire to make up the difference, but perhaps that's going to result in too long a stop. I think that has, because he's back out again there on the C3 compound. Perhaps he made an error with the fuel calculations and realized that he was going to be running out of fuel. He needs to put in another couple liters. That's deeply unfortunate, but it has resulted in Lawrence Sterner for Odin Racing being promoted up into the provisional podium sitting position of P3. Watching the top speed there of Lawrence Sterner reaching 321 kilometers per hour. Certainly one of the higher top speeds I've seen entering T1 there. And perhaps running a slightly lower downforce setup, allowing him to reach those top speeds, especially when not in the slip of another driver. Contrast, let's have a look at what Jude Stewart down in P8 is running. As he starts the main pit straight now, reaches 303, 304, 5, 6, 7, 8. That about a 313 kilometers per hour, so a good 7, 8 kilometers per hour slower. See if I can find another good example here. Let's have a look at Raymond Duggan sitting in P5 here, defending Mark Hollenbach just directly behind him. In fact, here's a good opportunity to have a look at Mark Hollenbach. He will be in the slip of Raymond Duggan, possibly even for a position. Let's see what top speeds Mark Hollenbach can reach in the slipstream with the DRS wing open. You're on board. He's actually going to go for the pass and slammed it up into the inside, so he's outside of the slip now. 314. And he's going to be taking that position up the inside unless Raymond Duggan can sling it around the outside. And he doesn't, so that is a nice pass cemented there. Hollenbach, nice and clean. Quickly have a look at Ben Wheeler here. Just getting around some back market traffic. Attacking the back of Andres Serrani. I also see that Dirk Brand is into the pits. So I believe that is also a second pit stop for Dirk Brand. I'm not sure also if that was intentional, a little two-stop strategy, or if there was also a little bit of a fuel calculation error. Corner Bread now from a fantastic recovery drive back up into P4. I'm pretty sure Corner at some point was basically lost on the grid following his lap 1 incident, and he is just 2.5 seconds shy of Lawrence Sterner right now. There you see in the foreground for Odin Racing, the bronze and gold car. Is on the C1 compound, as is Lawrence Sterner, the hardest compound tire. And there is about 15 minutes left in this race. Is that enough for Cornet to catch Lawrence Sterner? Let's look at the last lap times. Cornet is 1:21.2. 122.29. Lawrence is a 122.16. The corner is slightly faster than Lawrence right now. And Lawrence is also going to be coming up on some back market traffic. Probably hitting that in about a lap or two's time, I think. We'll keep an eye on that battle as it develops. Ben Wheeler, meanwhile, hopping back down to P9, but this is the battle for position 8. Andres Serrani, debutant, being chased down by Ben Wheeler. There ahead, seeing Andres Serrani run very defensive up the inside, even though he's significantly ahead of Ben Wheeler. Needs to break a toe or anything like that in my mind. It's just feeling a little threatened, or just being careful. Breed now 1.3 seconds behind Lawrence Turner. This gap is coming down as it crosses the line. Does a 121.24. Lawrence has just done a 122.0. So under attack here. Lawrence Turner, and you can just see Cornet's red and black flying gypsies in the background. Is down to under 0.3 of a second as they round the final corner here. Lawrence is in big trouble with Cornet Bread tucked in behind the slipstream. He runs defensive up the inside here. We're going to go on board as they run side by side. To stay on the TV track cameras actually. Cornet Bread's going to try and sling it around the outside. I think he has some better momentum. He's going to have the inside line. He closes that door ahead of Lawrence Sterner. And reclaimed P3. Claimed P3 rather. Great job, Cornet. Good clean pass around Lawrence Sterner. A little bit of a sitting duck there, I think, with the slipstream and the DRS. And he's now just 10 seconds away from Jeremy de Villiers, 11.5. With 10 minutes just over left in this race. That's a hell of a tall order to bring it back into contention for a P2. And to gain almost a second on Jeremy per lap. Jeremy's last lap was a 122.27. Actually quite slow compared to Cornet. Possibly just some sort of mistake on that last lap. There we go. Jeremy's last lap now is a 121.7. We just recently come around the first corner. Cornet Bread, meanwhile, is back under attack from Lawrence Sterner. He's done well to defend that. And in the background there, we actually see Mark Holland back to a P5. He's now attacking Lawrence Sterner. to defend into that T3, T4 complex. With Mark Hollenbach closing up on the back of Lance Sterner here. Well, the door's been left open there. Alright, he just gets slightly squeezed. I think backed out of it enough. Just in the back of my tiring screen, also seeing Dirk Brand getting around Ben Wheeler, but for now, super close to contact having happened there, but fortunately looks like it was avoided. Oh, Lawrence Sterner has a little bit of a moment, but he collects it. Almost spins right in front of Mark Hollenbach. A little bit of an oversteer moment. Back on board here with Mark Hollenbach looking at Lawrence Sterner running wide over the sausage curve. Mark Hollenbach is on the softer C2 compound, Lawrence Sterner on the C1. I'm wondering if those tires are a little bit worn out now. And is this corner group in front of him as well? I think it is. There's another back marker just ahead of them. But this train... Okay, corner bread is up ahead, so that's... that is a back marker in between one of the other Flying Gypsies cars. I'm just getting out of the way there of both of these guys coming through. Sterner and Mark Hollenbach. Try and find out if it was John Stewart just getting out of the way of the front runners coming through there. Yep. So back on board. Corner Brett, meanwhile, that's allowed him a little bit of breathing room. And Lawrence Sterner in the background, still trying to fend off Mark Hollenbach. Window is officially closed, but I do believe everyone's had their mandatory pit stops, so no concerns there. Super close here. Mark Hollenbach, there's Dirk Brand getting past Andreas Serrani further down. We are locked on this battle for P4 right now. Mark Hollenbach's trying to get around the inside of the final corner. And he's not going to have good momentum now leading onto the main straight. So Lance Sterner should be able to scamper away. That being said, there is a little bit of a slipstream effect here. Lance Sterner running very defensive up on the inside. He's going to go on board. Wing snap shut. He's going to have the inside line. Mark Hollenbach slings around the outside and gets the inside line for this corner. That is going to be a nice clean pass up into P4 for Mark Hollenbach. Dirk Brand, whose pass on Andreas Serrani we missed while we were watching the Lawrence Sterner and Mark Hollenbach battle for P4. A little bit of a curb grab there by Dirk, but keeps it in check. And he has Andres behind him, but I don't think he's going to be worried by him. Seems to be maintaining that gap following the pass. Another back marker just getting out of the way there. Neil de Villiers back on the leader right now. 41 laps done. 4 minutes remaining in this race. He has almost a minute's lead over Jeremy de Villiers in P2. There's Jeremy de Villiers over the start-finish line now. About to start his 41st lap. Breed, meanwhile, has got that gap down to 7 seconds. 3 minutes left in this race. That's not enough to catch P2 unless something catastrophic goes wrong up front. That being said, Cornet does seem to be pushing, just seeing the extent of that track limits earlier and a few shots back. Ben Wheeler in P10, just getting out of the way of Jeremy de Villiers there in P2. Under the blue flags. See Jeremy de Villiers just making his way through a significant amount of traffic right now, which has allowed Cornet to make up another few seconds. The gap down now to 4.3. Of course, he's going to hit the very same problem himself though, so I don't think it means much. Just over 30 seconds left in this race until the checkered flag is flown. Regardless, that has been a phenomenal comeback. Cornet, no doubt we'll see if we can catch a word from him in the driver's interview following the race. Let's talk to him about how that went. And goes to show never give up. Persevere. Excellent to see. Podium reward as a result. There we have the clock strike 0, leader officially. Ooh, as we see Emile de Villiers go wide into the kitty litter and almost a massive incident there. Would have had almost a minute to sort it out if he did though, but that must have been a hot in-mouth situation. And he's caught up a little bit in traffic now, Emil is. Oh, in fact, he gets very caught out in traffic. And unfortunately tags one of the Flying Gypsies cars there. Not sure which one that was offhand. Definitely not Cornet Breed. But didn't want him to jeopardize his podium chances here. But regardless, Emile de Villiers will be rounding the final corner now. For a deserved P1. Crosses the line. The celebrations starting about the Villiers Motorsport family household. Peels off to the side of the track. And Jeremy de Villiers in P2. He's got a long way to go still. Also has some traffic to deal with right now. I haven't actually seen the position change. Mark Hollenbach finally got past Cornet Bread. So perhaps that was Cornet Bread that was tagged in that incident. I'm not 100% sure. There's 25 Gypsies cars unfortunately. But that is deeply unfortunate with true, because Cornet Bread absolutely deserves that podium. To take nothing away from Mark Hollenbach though. So Jeremy de Villiers in the final corner now with Mark Hollenbach right there in tow. Immediately peeling off the racetrack there is Jeremy de Villiers and Mark Hollenbach to take it home. P1, 2 and 3. Cornet Bread takes it across the line. Sadly just misses out on that podium spot, but nevertheless fantastic drive Cornet Bread to stick in there. Just getting word in now from race control that it was John Stewart, the Flying Gypsies car, that Emile de Villiers made contact with, not Cornet. So I'm actually glad to see that that did not influence the race result. Not sure what happened to Cornet there at the end. Maybe we can hear from Mark Hollenbach, who was close by. And we are going to wait and see if I can find the podium finishers to pull in for a little bit of an interview. So don't go anywhere. Stick around and we can see who we can find. Meanwhile, Lawrence Sterner finishes P5, Raymond Duggan P6, Jude Stewart P7, Briani running P8, Dirk Brown P9, and Ben Wheeler runs up for top 10. Alright, let's see if I can find some interviews. Here comes Emile de Villiers and Jeremy de Villiers in just a second. I have found both de Villiers Motorsport drivers, Jeremy and Emile de Villiers. Jeremy, I'm going to start with you. How's that, sir? Congrats, P2. Looked like a very solid win. Tell us about your race, sir.
Yeah, well, it wasn't the win, it was the second place. The birthday boys got the win. But it was a pretty pretty uneventful race, quite frankly. In the beginning, I struggled a little bit to get into rhythm, so was a little bit under pressure in the first couple of laps, and thereafter it was a pretty lonesome race. So I just kept my nose clean and managed the gaps, and when I knew I could never catch Emile, so I was just making sure I bring it home.
Oh, excellent. Good job there, Jeremy, indeed. And I've just seen, I'll get to Emile in a sec, I've just seen Mark Hollenbach pop in as well. Mark, how's it going? Good evening. Congrats on a P3 finish, sir.
Sorry.
Yeah, how's it going, Mark? I see a little bit of an eventful finish there at the end. I'm not quite sure if I didn't quite see on camera what happened to Cornet Bread, because he was in P3 right until the death there, and then I see you somehow got P3 at the end. What happened?
Yeah, I just saw there was a car and went off, so I thought maybe something happened there.
Okay, yeah, maybe there was a battle.
Well, I was third then, so yeah. I don't know, he connected somebody there.
Yeah, unfortunately
Unlucky
we didn't see the track, but yeah, definitely unlucky. Cornet making quite a comeback drive from the back, but take nothing away from yourself, Mark Hollenbach. Congrats on that P3. How did you find the tires, the compounds that you raced on? Are you happy with your race decisions and your strategy?
Yeah, me and Mohammed, we decided on a two-stopper, so went for the C2s, and Yeah.
Yeah,
It
slightly
was
softer
good
compound.
pace, yeah.
Hmm.
Good pace of the C2s. So
Okay, that's good.
didn't
That's good.
expect a third.
You didn't change tires, or did you? Did you just take fuel?
No, I changed.
Oh, you did change the
Two
tires.
stops.
Aha. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Cool. And then, lastly but not least, Emile de Villiers. Not only another congrats on another P1, but also I believe happy birthday.
Yes, thank you very much, Ryan.
Happy birthday. How's it going? Tell us about your win. It looks like you enjoyed almost a minute lead there at the end. It looked like it was all in the bag.
Yeah, it was a very lonely race. Yeah, I don't really have much complaints. It's a shame that Mikhail couldn't race tonight. This would have been much more entertaining, say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have pretty much no complaints. I was mostly on autopilot because there was no one really near me. But yeah, I don't have any complaints.
No problem. Certainly a commanding victory there, and yeah, a little bit of a shame when not the entire field can make it due to load shedding and so on. I did also see, I think, Mohammed Dockrad, I think, drop out at some point. Looked like some sort of incident which resulted in quite a bit of damage for him. But otherwise, yeah, certainly some of the other front runners not around tonight. But take nothing away, that was a good solid victory, well deserved. And then, yeah, just to wrap up, looking forward to next round. Of course, next week we have GT3 racing at Spa, and then we're back with the GT4s at Bathurst, and then we'll be back again with some F1 series at the Red Bull Ring for next round.
I just have a request that we don't race in 36 degrees again.
We'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can do. But yeah, certainly, definitely one of the hottest races I think we've seen in a while. But
The tire degradation was crazy.
yeah, which I think was sort of something interesting to see. Yeah, yeah, a little bit of a different strategies coming through, like Mark mentioned with the two-stop strategies. It was interesting to see the different variations. Anyway, gents, thanks very much for joining me in the booth, and thanks again for tonight.
Thanks, everyone.
All the best for next round. Have a good evening.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, everyone. Bye. Alright, that's it, simRace South Africa. Thanks to all the YouTube viewers as well for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And we will catch you in the next round right here Monday nights. Ciao for now.